Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, Time with Lauren. It's time to cook dinner on this day, so I am taking you along with me. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share my channel. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments and I would love to chat with you. So I'm just getting started by taking out some chicken, and I'm going to butterfly it all the way across to make one breast into two cutlets essentially. And I do this for two reasons. The first reason is it tends to stay more moist in the oven when cut this way. And the second reason is it's just easier to eat and it tastes better when it's not as thick. So I just completely butterfly it all the way through, and I cut out if there's that thick piece of tendon where the two breasts were connected. I will cut out that piece of tendon or tissue, and then I just butterfly them across. So after I do that, I'm going to poke holes in it with a fork all over, and that is to help the chicken to be a little more tender and also to let the seasonings absorb more into the meat and not just stay on the outside, and that makes it more flavorful. So I'm just going to season some breadcrumbs with black pepper, a little bit of Italian seasoning, some garlic powder, and sea salt. And this is to taste, and actually this day I just felt so off. I just kept getting things wrong and backwards, and I was just a little out of sorts. But you know, some days are like that. You just keep on keeping on. And so anyways, I have 8 pieces here, 8 cutlets, but I in my head was thinking I was originally going to do 12, and so everything I measured out for, which I don't really measure, but everything I put together was essentially for 12, and I only had 8. So I do have a little bit, or quite a bit of leftover breadcrumbs, but that's okay, they will be thrown out. It was the rest of a little container of store-bought breadcrumbs, and I had been wanting to use those up so that I could get them out of my pantry and use my homemade sourdough breadcrumbs. So anyways, I just seasoned up that breadcrumb. Just give it a smell, and you can taste it as well to see if it has enough seasoning. And then just mix it around so that everything's evenly distributed. And then you will just set this aside until you're ready to bread your chicken. You know, I had mentioned being out of sorts and how some days are like that. And as moms and homemakers, and you know, we're all busy and have a lot to do every day. And sometimes it feels like there isn't enough time in the day to get things done. And so I heard it said a while back that you just need to do the next right thing. And I've always done that, but I'd never heard it said so well and so simply put. But that is true. You know, we have a lot to do, and there's always something that needs to be done. And, you know, whether you choose to do all the things every day as much as you can, or you need to prioritize your rest and quiet and just simplify doing the basics every day. But whatever you need to do, you just need to do the next right thing. And that can be such a helpful thing to remember when you are in a busy season, or just in general trying to manage a household and all the things that need to be done all the time. It can feel overwhelming. So I just try to remind myself that, and take a moment and read my Bible for 5 minutes, even if it's just 5 minutes, and then just do the next right thing. So just prepare dinner, or just start a load of laundry. Whatever the next right thing looks like for you in that moment or in that season, just stop and do that. So you can see here I'm just breading my chicken pieces by dipping it in the egg, and that was 2 eggs and maybe half a cup of milk mixture, and I just dip it in that, and then I'm dropping it here into my seasoned breadcrumbs. And sometimes I use my fingers, sometimes I use a fork, it just depends. But just take lightly and evenly coat both sides, and make sure you pat it in so that it sticks really well, but then also kind of shake off the excess, because you don't want a bunch of like crumbs on your tray that will burn. So anyways, you just want to bread all of your cutlets this way. And I drizzled a little bit of olive oil on my parchment lined baking sheet, and then I will lightly drizzle the tops of them with a little bit more before I put them in the oven, and that just helps them to crisp up and brown evenly. I used to do like a pan fried chicken parmesan or Italian chicken, whatever you call this, where it's just basically a breaded chicken that you're not deep frying. But I've worked on perfecting this method because this is something my family really, really enjoys. But I didn't always like pan frying it. Number one, because it takes a lot longer to do it, and number two, it does kind of make a mess, and you have to use a lot more oil than you do when you just put it on the baking sheet. So I didn't want to sacrifice crispiness and flavor, and I have been making this recipe this way probably since my husband and I first got married, so coming up on maybe like 13 years. But we really love this, and you can also like put Parmesan cheese in the breadcrumbs if you want to do that as well. It makes a nice crispy exterior, but we did not on this day. So anyways, here I am just drizzling the top of these just a little bit more, and I'm going to put those in the oven. Not quite yet. I was just prepping things a little bit ahead of time in the day because we had a hard day this day, so I didn't want to wait till dinner really needed to be cooked to get started, because something could happen and it would have taken much longer to get dinner on the table. So I'm just prepping things a little earlier in the day. It's I think like 2 or 3 o'clock at this time, and it's just gonna sit, and I'll get dinner in the oven probably around 4:30. But I just got some fresh broccoli here from my Costco trip recently, and dumped the whole bag on a sheet tray and drizzled it with olive oil and just a little bit of sea salt and fresh cracked pepper. We really love roasted broccoli. We like it to get a little bit charred, but also still have a little bit of a crunch. Not necessarily a crunch like raw broccoli, but a bite to it. We don't like it mushy. So I'm cooking this whole bag because, you know, when you're cooking, it doesn't take much more effort to cook double or extra than it does just to cook that night's portion. So I'm all about efficiency and planning ahead, and so I am cooking the whole bag, and we will use the other roasted broccoli that we don't eat at this night's dinner for another night's dinner, or I might throw it in a salad or have it just, it's pre-cooked, it's a vegetable, and it will get eaten. It will make my life easier. So I just cut up the bigger pieces of broccoli to be all mostly uniform, and then I'm just kind of massaging in the salt and olive oil, and again I will put that in the oven in a little bit. You don't want to salt your vegetables too far in advance before you cook them, because it will start to pull out moisture and it will get like liquidy and soggy. But obviously broccoli is a harder vegetable, and that doesn't happen as quickly with broccoli as it would with, say, onions or something. So anyways, I'm just going to pause and start washing up some dishes. I clean as I go because I don't like a big mess at the end. It feels overwhelming and a lot, so I just try to clean as I go. So this is a little bit of lunch dishes and bread and bowls, mixing things that we had made earlier in the day. I'm just going to tidy that up and have a clean sink for when it gets ready to serve dinner. So you can see here I'm washing up this like red silicone muffin tin thing, and I use this, I don't bake in it, but I do use it for like more of like a mold, I guess. But I make like we call it crunchy peanut butter chocolate cups, but it's essentially like a Reese's, but I use either brown Rice Crisps, or if I can't get those, then just regular Rice Krispies. And we make like a peanut butter filling, and then top them with chocolate, and they are so good. They're way better than Reese's because they have that like crunchiness to them. Anyways, I'll share that recipe soon, but now I'm just gonna tidy up, and I use a homemade, all of my cleaning products are homemade, but the reason it's brown is because, or like tan, is because I put vanilla extract in it. But look at that. It's such a beautiful shine. It cleans so well. So I'll share that cleaner with you guys soon as well. All right, so it's been like an hour or so, and now it's time to get dinner in the oven. I did sit down and rest for a moment in between prepping all that and washing up, and then we sat down, or maybe we went outside, I can't remember. But anyways, you're going to roast your chicken and broccoli at 425 for about 15 or 20 minutes. While that roasts, I am just going to put in some of this chickpea pasta that we like, a little bit of bone broth and chicken fat that was left over from a roasted chicken, and then I am just going to put a little bit of water in the pan and put the lid on and just kind of steam cook that pasta, and I won't be draining out any of the broth. All right, so now for my husband and I'm going to put together a little salad, and I'm just making the dressing in the bowl here. It was olive oil, salt, pepper, lemon zest, lemon juice, and a little bit of honey. This is just so easy to throw together a homemade salad dressing, and I also put a little Parmesan in it too, but it's just so easy. I just put the dressing in the bottom of the bowl and toss the salad, and that's just going to be for my husband and I. Our kids didn't want any that night, so it's a super acidic. We kind of like that sour acidic taste, so you can make it however you like, but we're getting lots of good juice in there and lots of the pulp squeezed out. There's a lot of benefits to lemon, vitamin C, and so anyways, we really enjoy a fresh salad like that with just, a little simple dressing, vinaigrette in the bowl. So a little bit of Parmesan in the dressing, and then I'll put a little bit to the side because my husband will want extra to top his salad, but I will not have any extra on mine. And you can see my tired little guy back there. He was one of the reasons we've had a hard day, is he's in a little bit of a fussy phase. So anyways, he was just hanging out with me as he normally does and getting sleepy back there right before dinner time. So, all right, now I'm just going to whisk this up in the bowl, and I'll set it aside until I'm ready to add my salad to it. So you can see here in the pot of the pasta that I didn't cover it at all, that it was almost to the top layer of the noodles, and then I just turn it on to bring it to a boil, and then I reduce the heat and let it just simmer and steam with that lid on, and that just helps it to kind of steam cook, but you don't have to drain any of the bone broth and good broth that you cooked it in. So there it is. It's nice and tender. I'm going to turn it off and just leave the lid cracked. That way it doesn't get mushy. All right, just peeking in on our chicken and broccoli. Both are browning nicely in there and just have a few minutes left. So everything looks great. I'm cooking it all at once because, again, hard day, ease of cooking. And we were supposed to have fried mushrooms with dinner this night. I was much looking forward to it, as was my husband, but I had bought a big pack of mushrooms from Costco last week, and that was one thing I was going to use them for. But again, hard day, it just didn't happen. So I did still want to cook them because I don't want them to go bad, so I'm just trying to use them up. So I'm just making some sauteed mushrooms. I'm just putting a little grass-fed butter and olive oil in this pan, a little bit of Worcestershire, and a clove of fresh garlic. And my little guy fell asleep back there, and he likes to keep his arms out. So when he falls asleep, I have to tuck him back in so his little head doesn't roll around. But anyways, I'm just going to wipe off these mushrooms and slice them up and just get them in that pan with a lid and just kind of let them steam and saute, and they will be just as delicious, maybe not quite as delicious as a deep fried mushroom, but it is what it is. That's what made it on the table tonight. These mushrooms are very simple to make and they go great as a side dish with anything, especially like grilled meats. You can also do onions if you like sauteed mushrooms and onions, but it's sort of like one of those steakhouse sides that they add, like if you want to top your steak with mushrooms and onions. But it's just, like I said, the butter and the Worcestershire, and then you just season it however. I press a fresh clove of garlic in there, and these are super delicious. We really like them. So now I'm just going to add some sauce to our pasta. This is that chickpea pasta. We've really been enjoying that, and I like that it's gluten-free naturally, and it's just chickpea, so it's got lots of good protein and fiber. All right, so now our chicken is done. It's nice and brown and crispy. You can flip it if you want, and I have done that in the past. However, I will say the top is a lot more crispy. The bottom does, because your chicken does, it is going to release a little bit of juice, or the bottom side of the chicken does get a little bit less crispy than the other, but you could bake it on a rack if you wanted. I am not going to all that trouble. It's nice and crunchy on the top. It is a really good alternative to the pan fried chicken, and you can cook a lot at once. Often I will do this for my husband, and I'll just meal prep a lot, and I'll do 2 full sheet trays so I can get like 16 pieces done and baked at once. So all right, just checking in on our mushrooms. They were so delicious. We did miss our fried mushrooms, but these were very, very good, and we make these often. All right, y'all, that was it for dinner on this night. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some dinner inspiration, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, subscribe to my channel so you can follow along with all that we have going on in our home and our kitchen. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.